Good morning, everyone. Welcome to everyone today. I'm streaming from Ananda Buddhist Center, this Sunday morning talk. Welcome and well zooming. Of course, here we have a very strong live audience here at Ananda Buddhist Center, part of the weekend teaching. And so we're going to do a teaching on the theme based on the text we're using here, but understanding sentient beings. Do we understand sentient beings? But before we do the talk, first we will do the prayers that we will screen share. These prayers are not just kind of etiquette, but it's a form of meditation during which you can tune and reset your mind in a very good, selfless, altruistic motivation that you're going to listen to this talk and hear your deep, heartfelt need to how to live meaningfully by understanding and relating sentient beings. Sentient beings are actually more important than Buddhas. Even Buddha's teachings are to teach, to deal and help and be kind with sentient beings. Often we are avoiding, ignoring, resenting, being mean and judgmental to sentient beings. This is not a sign that we understand sentient beings. We are misunderstanding sentient beings. So this theme of talk, understanding sentient beings, is very important. We just started this is only the third session. It will continue for a couple of months. So join your hands at the heart and prayerful mind and say the words, the Buddha, the enlightened one, the Dharma, his precious, priceless teaching, the Sangha, the unbroken lineage through which this teaching has kept alive and supported. We rejoice, be grateful to them, and we renew our belief in the teachings, and we renew our commitment to practice kindness and compassion, joyfulness when we practice these two regularly. We really have good reason to be joyful for not staying angry, but loving them, being generous instead of being mean, being patient instead of retaliatory. We have reason to rejoice. So joyfulness comes from our practices of good. And there are still things we will not reconcile, even if we try our best. Some sentient beings are in a very difficult spin, and with them we have to treat with great caution and equanimity, not fight or flee, but freedom from ill will. Stay in equanimity. These prayers are very reminder of that. So put your feelings from the marrows of the bone in doing this meditation while we do these prayers. Oh, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for everybody to join from various parts, wherever you are, but still stay connected with good friends and doing good things and regularly is important discipline. Instead of being alienated, isolated, not knowing where to go, and influenced by bad thoughts and bad companion are often the cause of sufferings. So that's why we thought of consolidating our activities by using these devices and modern technology so that each of the centers who are hosting, wherever their time and situations are shared, and so that you do not feel don't have a center to go to, or there's no teacher there, or you shouldn't feel like that. Modern technology is there to our advantage, and so that's why we're going to use this format more regularly, effectively, by promoting this very Zoom meeting, or those who chooses to use Facebook. Some people hate Facebook, so you have reason to go to Zoom. So if you choose to have YouTube, YouTube is Dharma Kaya. It's always there. YouTube is universally yours. And everybody is you, it's yours. You don't have your just personal Facebook. You don't have to have a Zoom link. It's all there. So these three platforms, we are most likely that about 90% going to do this very Zoom link, even though at times maybe we might have an alternative Zoom link because the center that hosting me might be doing it streaming as well. But that's most likely will not happen unless they are streaming it. But most likely we will use this very, very Zoom link on Sundays, and you should promote it to your friends, because people living in various places, if only if they can make the right positive contact with a fellow Dharma practitioner group, you don't have to go even to your center in a locally, you don't have to drive 10 minutes off the road. You can just stay at home and make a discipline that Sunday mornings are no excuse. Most people are not working. We have also other sessions like on Wednesday nights or Tuesday nights. That might be a little bit difficult to some because they have other commitments, yeah? But Sunday mornings is very good to bring all the Sanghas together in this platform. So welcome, and well Zooming, and well YouTubing, and well Facebooking. I'm sure nobody does all three at once. But you have no idea how many people have been appreciating these transmissions. So all the technical people helping make it as possible, make all things possible. So thank you very much. So theme of this today's talk is understanding sentient beings. Often our perception of other sentient beings are none other than our projection of them. And when we think they are them, what we project unconsciously, we don't understand them. We misread them as they are when they are only our opinions, when they're on our prejudicial views, and so on. So we have a lot of problems because we don't understand. We misunderstand most of the time. Even between two people who live in the same house, they don't communicate very well. They thought the other one knew, but they didn't know at all. So often assumptions, misunderstandings, and people do not pay good attention to say small, simple things with full attention. And therefore we are often unable to be very attentive to communicate verbally or physically what we need to say. You know, for instance, if I say something here, but quite a lot of people didn't hear them because my voice isn't perfect. No is your hearing, and no is your attention. So often there's a lot of misunderstanding, even between two people. So therefore, to think that they understood what we're saying, or we thought we said the thing, but they didn't get it. We thought they were going to do it, but we didn't make sure that that was the understanding. We assume all the time, and we misunderstand each other, and then we just believe they knew what we wanted. You know, no. We believe they loved us, but they never said they really loved us. They just needed us for whatever reasons. But doesn't mean they have capacity to love us unconditionally, because most people don't. They only attach to each other. So in this context, we will look at the text here before us. So you're going to use this format today. I'm going to give a little bit of teaching, and then I'll use the gong and let you meditate. Because of course you might already be listening and thinking, but it's good to reflect on that and try to digest that and try to percolate that in your mind and in relation to how we have been or should be relating to each other. So the first topic is the commitment to practice giving, generosity to our sentient beings. So this is according to the text, because we would need to train in the Bodhisattva's practices, therefore Bodhisattva's precepts is to practice generosity. In everyday life, you are practicing giving, but often is our giving understood, giving given by us with the right intention, the right manner, right object, with the right skillful means, or did what we give had the wrong intention, wrong manner, wrong time, and wrong objectives. So these are the understanding. Does he really want it, or we wanted him to have it? Often we want to give because we want you to have it. I want you to have it so that I feel good. Often giving is pushed. So that they feel indebted to us because we gave that, and often the giving is completely tainted by such a reward-seeking important mind. So giving is often, there are 32 pitfalls of giving, pure givings, and we won't list them today. But these impure givings are often to do with motivation, often to do with the wrong object you're giving, often to do with inappropriate object to whom you're giving, and ill-timed, and also. So that means we have to give, but we have to give with how being tainted by those things, but giving with understanding what is actual need of the other, that their problems, poverty, or lack of this is alleviated, and to the delight of you as a giver. But not someone who needed to be complimented, not to be rewarded, needed to be remembered, needed to be sent a receipt, all that sort of thing. In some situation, it will require you to send a receipt because of situation, but otherwise, the actual giver's point of view, they must give unconditionally for the benefit of the recipient, and thinking the recipient is more of a cause for them to give than themselves being the cause to give. So givers' willingness to ask for help is a big task. Asking someone's help is great humility. And so therefore giving is conditioned by the recipient, number one, and the thing to give, the material, and the giving. And the person who actually do the giving is part of the giving. So the object, the subject, and action of giving are all necessarily contributed. And so it says, if one who cherishes enlightenment must give up even his body. The bodhisattvas have given up their body or time, energy for the sake of temporarily whoever, but ultimately for the benefit of others. It is therefore needless to mention giving material possessions. Material possession out of 4 types of giving is the first and the least useful giving. Material giving, and giving of fearlessness. Giving of fearlessness is giving advice to allay fears, worries, anxieties of people. So that's very good, important to sit together and have real talk, dialogue, to allay all the misunderstanding and confusions and clarification. Dialogue, I call it. Monologuing is not dialoguing. We think he knew, but he didn't. We think he's supposed to know, but he wasn't told. So lots of monologuing, but there's no dialoguing. Dialoguing means both one listens, completely listen, and listen totally to the person until he finishes. And that could be a giving, That could be complete good giving. Sometimes giving full attention is more giving than material value. So people say, you don't listen to me. Exactly. Yeah. And they always feel you didn't listen to me. When you were talking, he was paying somewhere else. And then he didn't listen. So misunderstanding. And that stacks, that piles. And the friendship is almost, you never listen to me. They say, you never listen to me. Word never is used. And that's terrible. It's actually sometimes. If you know, you sometimes don't listen to me. It's really nice, huh? Might be true, You never listen. It seems very blatant attack. You never listen. You never do anything for me. People say these things. You can see there's already misunderstanding between the two, and then say such really, really aggressive language. Yeah, we don't understand. How would they listen to that? You never do anything. You wasted my 12 years, people say. Yeah. That's not an understanding what they will make of it. They will be devastated. They feel completely ignored of everything they did. And then, of course, they have reason to feel hurt. They feel hurt. Did they say that? Gosh, I did all of this, and I didn't do anything. So therefore, without hope for return of any reward, practicing generosity unconditionally is the practice of bodhisattva. So as a bodhisattva, even as a beginner, should give, whether material possession, whether you're bringing some food or groceries or things the person doesn't have to go out and get, or whatever it is, that's material things you give. You give simply, not just because you give what you don't want. Some people give what they don't want. That's not what they don't need. You can have it because you yourself don't need it. Actually, giving is what other needed and what you actually wish to keep. But being able to give what other need, without wanting anything back, selflessly for the benefit of others. That would be giving by understanding the need of the sentient being. If you understand sentient beings, we have to give them something they lack, and they will be benefited and empowered by that, without any reward-seeking mind and without any kind of a wariness and showing as if you have been helping them too much and making them feel they should feel indebted to, without making any of those kind of remarks. If one is able to give, then they give dana. Dana alleviates sense of poverty. That sense of not being loved, they feel loved through the token of giving time or space or whatever. They feel loved because the sense of poverty, of lack of love between you and other is now alleviated. Word dana comes from darida ana, means you're alleviating the sense of poverty, of friendship, or kindness. So your thing you give, alleviate it and remove that danger that you don't love them. You actually make them find a friend that they thought they didn't have one. And then you will remember yourself, somebody who helped you once a long time ago. You always remember him or her. you know, and it will have a long-lasting kind of humanity lives in your mind stream, one who gave when you really needed. So hope will be enlivened, and the person also will be taught to practice generosity, because one who has been given kindness many times, he tends to practice kindness. One who has been exposed to aggression and bad language, they always practice that, because that's all they have seen people do to them, and they have no way of doing any different, because that's how they've been treated. So therefore, we have to practice generosity, whether it's material possession, or emotional help, guidance. That's fearlessness. And third is giving actual love, actual affection, filial duty, parental duty, or filial duty, social duty, whatever it is. That is a human. If you see a friend or somebody in the street falling on the road, it's our human duty to go and help him. Not whether we know him or not, the issue is all because someone needs help. So that kind of giving your time. Maybe you're running out of time. You're meant to be somewhere 10 minutes, but try to stop that and help the person. Instead, giving something out of your own comfort zone, and giving simply to relieve the suffering of others, and without any intention to seeking reward for yourself, is the practice of bodhisattva. So in relation to the practicing, they usually say that you should practice these 4 types of giving, either or all of them. 4 types of giving: material, fearlessness, love, and Dharma. Dharma is highest of 4 giving. You should try to give at least 6 times a day as a bodhisattva. It might be you offer a seat to somebody. It might be you open the door. It might be you just show a very kind gesture. And every time you do that with great love and care, someone who's a little bit immobile or little ill, or maybe whatever it is, you try to go out of your comfort zone, do it for them. So this kind of, what do we call it? Small acts of kindness. Acts, could be not a lot of material thing you give, but just the sentiment with which you do it. Small acts of kindness is what bodhisattva should train. And at least 6 times doesn't mean 6 times enough. Then I've done my 6 times. That's crazy. So I don't have to do it. Not that kind of thing. Minimum 6 times. The Muslims pray, I don't know how many times. They're good discipline. I was really inspired. And I was at the university sharing a room with another PhD student. And he would always do his prayers in the middle of his work. He'd get down and put his mat in the office. He'd do his prayer. Yeah, very good, very good. He stays true to his faith and practice and mindfulness. They don't call mindfulness, they call faith. In a secular society today, they call mindfulness, everything mindfulness. In Mahayana Buddhism, we call bodhisattva precepts. And usually not giving whatever the other need at that very time, not tomorrow. Not ask them to come tomorrow. And give on the spot, almost like spontaneously, unconditional giving small acts of kindness, and that is just randomly. But then some are deliberate. Your parents, your elderly, children, loved ones, people who are under your care professionally, whatever. Those things, of course, you have to do as part of your duty, part of your responsibility, part of your work. And a lot of your work is giving. If we do the work willingly, happily, it is not job. It is work. It is service. Change your attitude to your work and go to work with the right attitude to give the full support to your boss, to your colleagues, to your whatever, more than you normally do very sincere. You wouldn't believe how much you felt the day. So meaningful. Because it alleviated all your sense of inadequacy and other people as well. Dana arida. Dana. Dana is not, people say we practice dana. Dana means it alleviates someone's difficulties and your joyfulness. It's a delight. They say, joy of giving. Yeah, joy of giving. Only if we have the right intention. And a lot of our lives, temporary joy and enjoyment are because someone else's generosity. We have been recipient of generosity of other people more than we have given anything similar, particularly to your parents and mother and so on. So we have a great giving to do from here onwards. So giving those things to strangers, to poor, to charity, to the sick, to the misunderstood, and to those who are angry to you, those who are upset to you, those who are upset to him, also give something to him. It will help him. Because someone is a little bit miserable, you give something to him, it will help him to calm his hopelessness. Someone cares about him. If someone is angry at you, of course, if you can give, definitely you should put your wish to allay his sadness or misery, because he hasn't been given, he hasn't been listened to, he hasn't been respected. It might be just that. It is not thing you give. So therefore, let's us meditate a few minutes. How can we reconsider the practice of generosity in a meaningful way? So let you meditate a couple of minutes there. You sit upright. I say with 4S. Stillness of your posture, sit upright, and sincerity of the motivation, and serenity of your attention, not distracted, but try to think what generosity is and how best we can practice and to whom, and how we may take up a promise, make a little promise to practice kindness to people and so on in our life situation. So, and then the fourth one is simplicity. Just stay very simple. Sit still, sincere, serene attention. Focus your attention. What is generosity? How can I better my life by practicing that thoughtfully, mindfully? So if one's mind is very clear and attempting to make it even more clearer, how best we can understand others' need, and then give whatever is just right timing, and whatever you give is so unconditionally dispensed with lots of love and goodwill, then even the gift is small, it actually benefits them. Some people give a lot, but it doesn't benefit the recipient, but the recipient feel really, they feel they have taken something the other didn't really want to give. Others feel that you have something, but it was so helpful that they feel, they have immortally feel indebted to. So it's not the quantity of amount of thing the person give, but how sincerely we give by understanding the one for whom we are giving it to. So to enable yourself to do the giving efficiently, you need to have self-discipline to reflect on that. So therefore, second precept of a bodhisattva is to practice self-discipline. Training to have the discipline so that you know to abstain what kind of shouldn't be, things should be given that is inappropriate to the person. Sometimes giving money isn't going to help the person, it's going to spoil them. Lots of people are a checkbook parent. And the money the person received were wastefully used. Actual no affection, no actual time, not even reading a story once a week, only giving checkbooks, signing checkbooks. These days, direct bank transfers. Send me the BSB. There's no real. So often giving things, but not appropriate to the recipient. So we need to discipline. In this verse talking about one cannot accomplish one's own well-being without self-discipline. It is laughable matter wishing to benefit others from your giving. You haven't understood what the person needs. It's your love and true understanding, true attention. They need to know that you really love them. You're not giving to pretend that you love them. As if I've done that should be enough type of thing, But that's the least beneficial. People don't want your dirty money if it's attached with a lot of strings. So most people are victims of receiving gift. They're attached to it so many strings, and therefore the recipient giver has not disciplined how to restrain from such improper giving. Therefore, one should develop self-discipline and not try to benefit others just because you can do this or that. So therefore, self-guarding, self-discipline without worldly agenda is the practice of bodhisattva. So helping with the discipline to abstain from what may be inappropriate, object to give to, thing to give to, amount to give to, time to give to. But whenever they need it most, what they need it most, one wants to give. These days, it's time. Most people don't give time. They give money, maybe. They give all things. They don't give time. They're too busy, distracted, checking various gadgets. Then even in front of each other, they're not talking to each other. What did you say? They're not talking. They should ban these things. When you have a meeting with your loved one or visiting sick or with someone who really helps, you should completely switch off those things. Give them full attention. Look in the eyes what they really and have understanding. So because people can tell body language, they really are not interested. Just want to do the obligatory thing. So one need to have discipline to abstain from such distracted attention. Attention deficit. Mindfulness helps people to discipline themselves how to self-discipline. Self-disciplines are three kinds: prohibitive self-discipline, prescriptive self-discipline, benevolent self-discipline. Prohibitive are things one shouldn't do that are inappropriate, to oneself, to the other. So if you're going to intersect generosity with discipline, what should you not give? Prohibit. Some material, some things are not good. You shouldn't give so much money to children, for instance, or certain materials in people's hands. You should make sure, like we were talking, government was giving cashless cards or something, good. Cashless cards are, they realize cash is not good because people use for drugs, all alcohols. But those cashless cards you can only use for grocery or something, as long as they don't overeat. So there's always checking what is appropriate and preventing, meaning restraining oneself from doing things that are inappropriate and unhelpful to the recipient and to yourself. And the motivation, check your motivation, restraining from bad motivation. You want them to be indebted, you don't want them to pay reward to you, you want to feel good, you want to feel acknowledged. If you have these things, that's a prohibitive self-discipline one must practice. So one needs to check one's motivation. A bodhisattva should check motivation before the action. You need to conceive your intention carefully before the action is consummated. The action is unconditional love and kindness, sincere wish to benefit others, and then prevent and restrain those prohibitive self-discipline, and then practice prescriptive self-discipline. What is prescribed is gentleness, kindness, skillfulness, tenderness with which you did the thing to the other. Other person really felt so willingly you love or give. So you must prescribe yourself. How lovingly can I choose a time? When would be the best time that I can do this? And being able to prescribe yourself a timeliness and the thing you give is very appropriate, not too much, not too little, not to the extent of spoiling them, not to the extent of inadequate. That kind of prescriptive self-discipline and benevolence. Benevolent is you do that to him or her as a finite object, but you wish that you could do more than this to everyone else. And you believe there are a lot more people who are doing thousandfold more than this. My small drop of good action is just a small drop in the ocean of pool of many people's good generosity. So don't highlight your goodness. Make it benevolent. So if your drop of gift falls in the ocean of pool of everybody's goodness, it will never dry. So dedicate that may this provide hope and kindness. So therefore it's called benevolent generosity. Benevolent discipline is you try to not only help your only mother, but also say, may all mothers be looked after by the children like this. There are many wonderful children than me who look after their mother. I'm now starting to repair kindness by small acts like this every week. Sometime it might be a nice phone call. It may not be more than that. But even that, do that and conclude that with this benevolent intention. And then rejoicingly promise to practice like this, not just with this mother, but other mother sentient beings. There are lots of other sentient beings who needs to be, everybody is our mothers. Just we have not to remember when, from where. Sometimes you can see a friend, I say, I've seen you, but I can't remember where you're from. Like that, But you don't say that to everybody. I say, you're my mother, but I know which life wrong. You should think like that. Pretty sure I'm you. I can't remember. Thank you very much, Mom. Very good. Things like that. Things like that, so that you don't feel, but what you're doing is a great thing. But just what you're doing is a small thing to repay the kindness of theirs and others. So what you do is more like repaying their kindness, their generosity, that you have received so much more than you are trying to reciprocate. That's the right attitude. Then your generosity is intersected with discipline. Shila paramita. Shila, Shita Labda. Shita Labda means Shita means dewdrop, cooling effect. And you have attainment of cooling effect of your mind's lack of discipline. You'll be cooled by the dewdrop of good deeds. And you feel that good karma is done not by the amount, but the meticulous attention and wish, and good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. And we can, if we do that, we understand sentient beings. We don't make them feel we are some kind of important person who helped them. They are the ones who should be indebted to me. If we have that, we haven't helped them, because we don't understand sentient beings, and we don't understand what to do with sentient beings. What we do defeat the purpose. And you wouldn't believe, a lot of children, they don't want to talk to their parents, where they were dictatorially treated and treated them with contempt, with the pressure, and they don't feel grateful. Not because parent hasn't given to them, but tainted by a lack of true love and kindness, no discipline. Just dictatorial, just pressure of peer parenthood. This does not help the children karmically. Instead, it sours them. It in fact harms them. So generosity that doesn't harm is the discipline. Generosity that arms the person with great sense of benevolent practice. Even meditation is so that we practice these things and understand each other. So again, sit upright, bring your sincere mind in serene attention, how to employ the self-discipline in all things we do, in a very mindful attention, to follow the examples, noble examples of the Bodhisattvas and all local heroes. And maybe in your own family, you see who does that so well, without needing any compliment, does so many times. We have a lot to learn, don't we? in one's gentle attempt to do good and avoid opposite and be of beneficial outcome through our generous and very gracious way of doing things with sentient beings, knowing sentient beings are very needy. They're always looking for someone who will be kind, generous, and caring and giving to them. They never seem to get enough of that from most of the time because so many are depleted of their attention to be practicing this. They are so skilled in education and skills and their life skills, but they are never skilled to how to deal emotionally, deal with sentient beings. So that's why Dharma practice, generally, particularly Bodhisattva's teachings of how to be attentive with your intention. Bodhisattvas need to be more conversant with his own checking intention, not what does to outside to impress others, even in generous, even discipline. But he need to have a really resilient intention with which he go and offer his small acts of kindness with a good degree of discipline. But to practice this way with good discipline, you need patience. So hence the third precept of the Bodhisattva is to practice patience. Practice patience means be peaceful. Patience is not a thing. Patience is what you do. Patience is not some pleasant thing to do on the spot. It's it's bearing hardships. The English word forbearance, probably better than the word patience. Sanskrit word is shanti. The word forbearance is made out of for and bear. You're bearing the hardships for a greater purpose than the temporal situations that met you. So you have to be very insightful why you're forbearing this, so that this present hardship has a purpose for which you are forbearing. So therefore, one needs to practice peace. Word shanti means avoiding or dispelling your agitation and anger. So being able to remedy your anger and pacify your mind and stay attentive to the good you have to do. To bodhisattvas who seek a wealth of virtue, bodhisattva wanted to practice virtuous things, not just generosity, discipline. They need also virtue of patience. I think there's no great virtue than patience in the whole world. Shantideva said, there's no comparable virtue than patience. When you're practicing patience, you will be practicing loving kindness, you will be practicing compassion, you will be practicing generosity, and everything is inclusive in that. So that's why patience with the weather, with the earliness of the morning, with cold, with heat. Did he not practice patience under the Bodhi tree? Unwaveringly, not just one season, not just one morning, through a whole 6 years. He practiced patience with the weather, with heat, with the cold, and whatever, all this, instead of being troubled by the heat. Heat harms you, you straight away feel hot. Wind blows, mosquito bites. And this is India in 5th century BC. Hasn't improved much. Even today, you go and sit under the Bodhi tree, you will find all these flies everywhere, all these insects. Imagine how much the Prince Siddhartha forbear. He's sit there for the purpose of accomplishing his bodhicitta by ascetically practicing that for the benefit of people like you and me in 21st century. Was he not correct? You can see the panacea of Dharma that we receive today is a virtue of Buddha's practicing of patience. It's enormous virtue. This is not some trying to be the world #1 in climbing Mount Everest, things like that. There was no interest in that. It's totally to win the enlightenment for the benefit of others, to create this inexhaustible virtue that no matter how many people hear the Dharma, practice it, there's no sign the Dharma exhausting. It's inexhaustible merit. So why there's no merit like patience is because someone practiced it. Therefore, we have Dharma. Dharma is virtue that came from the practice and experience of the enlightened one. And we, as a small beginner who are inspired and aspirant of the Bodhisattva's way of life, also need to take up some resilience and practice patience. All who harm are like a precious treasure. Not to mention the weather, not to mention the mozi, not to mention whoever harms you, are actually the real treasure trove for you to progress spiritually. If you are spoiled, you wouldn't grow. It's only when you encounter with the hardships, then you have opportunity to grow. And that's why all the great beings have accomplished their virtues, their commendable positions, because they tolerate it, because they face the hardships for good purposes rather than reacting. So patience requires, therefore, cultivating fortitude without hostility to anyone, without retaliating to the suffering, to the people, to the condition. So there's 3 types of patience. First is the voluntary acceptance of suffering. You need to accept the suffering. Because if you don't accept the suffering, you don't understand sentient beings. Sentient beings have suffering, have problems, be they this person or that person. They all have karmic traits that they haven't completely exhausted. And only you get to know them, you really know their sufferings that they have told you before. The moment you get to know someone, you know more their sufferings. I tell you my story, you will feel all the suffering of our people. And you talk to somebody else, oh gosh, you can see the suffering. So more you understand sentient being, more you know their sufferings. And you need to accept every sentient being have their share of sufferings and problems, karma and affliction. And therefore, without retaliating to the suffering, to the sentient being, we need to voluntarily accept the suffering as the nature of existence. That's the first. So if you accept it, it is shanti. Because if you accept, there is peace. If you reject, there is fighting. If you're angry, you're tossing and turning, you're going inside the house, going out, smoking, drinking, angry like that. It's not peaceful. You can see the movement is completely troubled. Banging the door, throwing things, drinking things, and not really sitting down quietly and accept that and let it change. If as soon as you accept the suffering doesn't repeat itself. If you reject it, it comes back. So this is the wisdom. You have to have wisdom. So you have to restrain, prohibit yourself from retaliation, prescribe yourself to practice peace, patience, and make it benevolent. By virtue of this patience, practice of patience, all the retaliation, act, verb, tit for tat, abusing with abuse, insult with insult, raising voice with raising voice, I practice the past. May all of such misdeeds of me and others be alleviated by this. So with that, if you accept the suffering with patience, then it becomes self-discipline. then it becomes generosity. Of course, it becomes patience. And also the second type of patience is, second is not the kind of alternative. Second means gradually. You first accept. Third is, second one is where you disregard that as a big, disregard it. This is nothing. Not being dismissive, but this is just a beginning of, this is in comparison to what other people have to do every day. what has to do they do, like Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, practitioners, all the amazing mothers of 7 kids, or 3 kids, or 1 kid can do it. You know, 1 kid is enough, mother. And no man has understood what's that workload of being mother is. So in comparison to all the mothers, what they do for the young, they bring up, what might be a little bit of patience is not. So almost try to regard that as not too much. It's okay, that's fine. You just accept it, and you increase your fortitude. You say your fortitude, cultivating fortitude. Yeah, without hostility, without resenting, without thinking, oh, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it because it's a virtue. No, you have to say, this is the excellent opportunity for me to grow and become very strong. So without any hostility or aversion, and kind of a hidden kind of a passive aggression toward them, with delightfully practiced patience. So without disregarding the harm, they call it. Patience of disregarding the harm. Because you don't disregard it, because you disregard it, it doesn't harm you anything. You're not that offendable anymore as you used to. You're not vulnerable. You're not so easily dentable, Your body of car is made in Germany. Not somewhere else. I'm not going to mention that. You guys knew that. Yeah, some places are good at making very easy ones. So you should make things that last. You should disregard it. Don't worry, Those big old cars, they never mind hump and bump, they hit, no problem. Some of them just little touch. So we should be fortitude, with the fortitude. Made to last. Made to last. Made to last. You have to practice patience that lasts, not just the beginning of the morning, all day, all evening, bringing your right intention, generosity, discipline, and then 3 types of patience. The third one is that meditating on the nature of the sufferings. Nature of suffering is impermanent. It is interdependently produced. It doesn't exist itself. It does not last long. No suffering lasts by itself unless you keep rejecting it. If you reject it, the suffering keeps generating, but otherwise suffering doesn't persist. Suffering is impermanent. Nature of suffering is impermanent. And so, while you haven't got much suffering to complain about, because suffering went past you. So, the nature of meditating on the nature of the suffering, nature of the harm that caused you, you wouldn't even think they're causing you any suffering. They're causing you to practice patience. So for the foolish, suffering is a hardship. For the wise, suffering is a gift. As I said, it's not a crisis, it's a blessing. For the bodhisattvas, they're looking for people to harm them. And if they've got some really challenging situation, if they defame, they denigrate, they put you down, it's a wonderful opportunity. They tell them, this is a wonderful opportunity, don't miss this opportunity. They talk to themselves, if they remember. The bodhisattvas remember to tell themselves, Now, this is the moment. Don't miss this excellent opportunity to cool yourself through and stay formidable and be kind and be, 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 be with the one who has foresight and can see the benefit in the future for the small hardships now. That's the forbearance. You can see the big bonus coming, like the Buddha's enlightenment. And for small effort of suffering, you have to endure. Yeah, this kind of vision. After vision, you have to have a vision to practice patience. But temporarily, it's not possible. Temporarily, yeah, it's, even if you don't obey this, your life is full of suffering anyway, so you might as well make use of good suffering. See, this is the fortitude you get from this. You have so much complaint in your mind anyway, so might as well go to the tips together, take everything out. Don't pile them in the backyard, all these fears. Take them all in one tip and get rid of them. All the agitations, all the anger, all the hostility, all the resentment. This person, this condition is helping me to get rid of all my rubbish. Have this fortitude to carry the load without any hostility to anyone. And it's the practice of bodhisattvas. So if you have some resentment to others, anger to your past, and sadness what people did, all these things are cause of depression, anxiety, and terrible cause of your high blood pressure or even heart attack. Who wants to keep this? It's awful. If your room is filthy, when the friends come, they say, "Oh, you look so filthy." You will clean them, make sure. But your mind is worse than that. Don't you want to clean it up? So, with that in mind, one needs to learn to delete those thoughts. Highlight all those thoughts. Did you know how to delete the photos? I didn't know how to delete those photos until someone showed me. Press a little bit longer, and then they all get highlighted. Like that, you should highlight all the bad thoughts, and then tick them all, and just press the delete button, and meditate. From today onwards, I will not talk about him or that anymore like that with a vengeance. Please bless me. So, with that, don't see them as truly existing, nor the incident truly existing, nor your attitude about they're all impermanent, do not truly exist. With such fortitude of understanding and kindness to your past, and not to mention kindness to your future, you wouldn't believe tomorrow you wake up a different person. Thank goodness you did that meditation yesterday. Thank goodness you took up that precept to not keep anger and resentment in your life. Thank goodness you really sit there and meditate and rose up from the seat, change person. How long does it take time to change your mind? How long does it to change the globe? They say you need how many people to change the globe? But to change your mind, you only need you. So let's reflect a few moments on that. Sit still with sincere motivation, with the serene attention. Make it simple. Talk to your heart. Listen to it as best as you can, and make few precise resolutions here and now, with the goodness of all the Sangha, Dharma, and the Buddha, and inspiration. So understanding sentient beings requires first to understand the first person. By the first person, it's very tall order to understand other sentient beings when we are not in their head, let alone in their heart. If we can be mostly in our heart rather than our head, we can beginning to understand ourselves. Then the other sentient beings are not dissimilar. So therefore, this theme of understanding sentient beings is very important. Even Buddha said that rather you be kind to fellow sentient beings than make tons of material offering to me. I'd be more delighted to see you being kind to fellow sentient beings than making a lot of devotional religious offering to me. That shows, Buddha said that, Other Buddhists will say, oh, you should make offering to the Buddha, it's very meritorious. You wouldn't believe how Buddhists bring tons and tons of things to offer to make really beautiful and attractive. You wouldn't believe how much floral pattern, a lot of things they go and do that amazing religious zeal. But when it comes to dealing with fellow sentient beings, they fall short. They can't even speak kind words. They can't even be patient when the other is difficult, stressed, and unwell or troubled. And Buddhists could not be delighted by this discrepancy. So religiously doing all this thing, outwardly, spiritually doing nothing to a fellow human. So I think His Holiness Dalai Lama has been very, very vocal in recent years, knowing that Dharma has such a great appeal and response by people, how people should practicalize the Dharma in everyday life and make it useful everyday life rather than future lives, rather than, to please the Buddhas and please the deities or propitiate the deities and all that sort of thing. Of course, in certain Buddhist culture, that may bear precedent over it because they don't really know Buddhism. They're only practicing culturalism. While we value the culture, we really need to know what the real culture is for. And we need to heal our wounds, hurts, and pains. And if you find yourself healing, then you will learn how to heal the other sentient beings. You can't heal other people. You can't forgive other people unless you have forgiven yourself. So therefore, being able to practice medicine, Dharma, medicine of mind, in prayer, in study, in meditation, is the practice of Bodhisattva. And so this will conclude here, everyone. Thank you for your attention. We'll do the dedication of merits. Thank you, everyone. See you next Sunday on similar situations. So we will do the dedication merit and share the screen. Most of you who are here on Zoom probably know the prayers, just in case some of you don't. Thank you, everyone.